Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. This is Race for Survival. I don't know what it is, but it's the 18th of June 2015. Real horrible story coming out of Charleston, South Carolina. I didn't plan on making any videos today, but I saw an article, this one right here, where the mainstream media was covering this shooting. And then that's basically what happened if you haven't heard yet. Down in Charleston, there was a spree killing where 9 people were killed in a church by a white person who you can see it already, they're already framing him or portraying him as a white racialist, a hater, a racist, based off some things, but we'll try to go and see what we can learn a little bit about this guy. I've heard in comment boards that this guy is actually registered Democrat, voted for Obama. His Facebook page has a bunch of black people, and one picture, but they kept showing one of the pictures where he was standing on a car, or sitting on a car where it has like a Confederate flag. Another one where he was wearing a South African flag, like apartheid and stuff. But so who really knows? He was on heavy medication, including the SSRIs, I think they're called, and I think that's what Peter Lanza was on, the Sandy Hook shooter, the Dark Knight shooter. I can't remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about out there in Colorado, the crazy dude. This whole thing just reeks like a PsyOp to me. But maybe it's just a lone wolf. If you didn't hear what he said, it was kind of interesting. Right before he killed these people, was something about, I'll try to find the quote here, about you're raping our women and taking over our country. I'm sorry I have to do this. So, as someone said, this is really, really bad for whites who are racially aware, who are trying to discuss race in a peaceful, nonviolent manner. And now this will make us all look like we're going to go out and carry out these horrific acts. I mean, for whatever it's worth, you don't do something like this, dude. You don't go into a church and shoot people up. That's not gonna accomplish really much. Right now, it's been trying to discuss the issues because we've been so demonized over the last 20 years. In Oklahoma City really did help with that. With the FBI and the SPLC being able to go on a frenzy against white racialists. And I was just thinking today when I saw that story, the first thing I thought was, well, man, this kind of sucks because I've actually been able to discuss these issues of race and that with my family, with some family members and other people, just neighbors. It's something that it's kind of nice. You're able to at least talk about it peacefully. So, and it's like, you see something like this, and then you're thinking, wow, my family's probably thinking, Zach's he's gonna go out and, this is where it's heading and stuff like that. So this really shuts down discussions. So they do want to stop us from being able to use free speech as a way to discuss these issues. In the comment boards, that's what I saw on Yahoo. The first thing I saw in the comment boards was people saying that they need to shut down hate speech. And basically, one person actually is quoted as saying that the government needs to sanction websites such as this one, Council on Conservative Citizens. They're you can't see it on the right, but they have neo-Confederate views. They love their heritage in the South and that, so this site would be shut down. They're listed by one of the top anti-Semitic websites. And all those, Daily Stormer, Stormfront, whatever, all these sites would be shut down and sanctioned if these people get what they want. TrueTube has really, really received a lot of attention, and it's waking a lot of people up. I don't think they discuss race enough on TrueTube. I think a lot of people get stuck with the World War II and the National Socialists, which is great. I'm into that stuff too, every day, like checking stuff out like that. But the issue is race, and talking about it in a serious way. Not calling for violence, just discussing it, because just discussing it pisses people off. I get trolls like that are black or something like that, and they watch my videos and they'll constantly leave comments, call me a melanin deficient white devil, you know what I mean? Just absurd stuff. And I don't want these people chiming in. I'm not really speaking to him, but he'll continue to be part of this discussion amongst us. So this isn't good. Let's go to this article here. The white supremacists worried about Charleston shooting makes them look bad. This was posted just a little while ago, and that's what we're all thinking right now. Let me scroll down here. White supremacists on Thursday quickly tried to distance themselves from the suspect in the mass shooting at the historically black church in Charleston, South Carolina, worried that a white man killing 9 people in a black church in South Carolina looking bad for their movement. I hope we have a movement. I don't really see a movement, but it's a mental movement. This is going to be really bad, I'm afraid, wrote White Nationhood in a discussion thread on white nationalist site Stormfront. Condolences to the families. The media and the left will use this to support their narrative that whites are slaughtering blacks, like this is a big crime. In the video above, it says, it will not matter what the truth is. This guy's going on and on saying this is enough, we don't need this, basically making this, he said something about we need to talk about the real issues and do it peacefully. Well, this is a non-issue. Whites, killing in mass sprees of non-whites, white nationalists, it's not an issue. It's because it doesn't really happen. And if it does happen, it's very, very rare cases. You can go to this website, Council on Conservative Citizens, and there's other websites too that document hate crimes against white people that occur on a daily basis. The numbers are staggering, and the ways in which whites are attacked. One was just this white woman had a brick, a concrete brick, whatever, smashed into her skull. That was just yesterday. So I mean, you can go on and on and on. Those are issues. But saying that white nationalists are terrorizing this South Carolina town and enough is enough, that's just pure bullshit. So other commenters offered conspiracy theories about the shooting, suggesting that it was a setup aimed at distracting from conversations about race. Well, it doesn't really matter whether it's a theory or a conspiracy. That's what it's going to do. These types of events are happening way too often and smell fishy, wrote this one person. People were beginning to talk about the race issue openly after Ferguson, Baltimore, and now Rachel Dolezal scandal, the white woman who acted and faked and lied that she was black, and she was leader of the NAACP. Looks to me like the powers that be wanted to turn attention back to Whitey if it turns out to be a white perp. There was some sympathy on the message boards, if not for the extent of the shooter's actions, then for his motives. Okay, so I guess there was no question now. It was a white guy with a really bad haircut. Yes, very horrible haircut, like Clockwork Orange or something. But the user then suggested that the reason Roof reportedly gave to his victims moments before he shot them are legitimate societal concerns. It's a shame this happened, and I do feel bad for the victims and their families. However, it's making me sick, although no surprise, how this is being spun by the media, racially charged killings. It's a fact that blacks commit way more crimes per capita and behave a certain way. That's why they get chased and hurt. They do rape our women, and they are taking over our country and cost way too much money to maintain, but none of these points will ever be addressed because then it would bring up open discussion to the Negro problem in our society, which is real news. Obviously, I'm very against this heinous act of violence, although a white guy is going on a mass shooting has made such a big event because it happens so rarely. Blacks commit mass shootings every day in a major U.S. city, which is true, Just go through some of the ghettos here, and, in America, and you'll see. Try being a white person going through some of these areas and see how not racist these people are. Let's not make excuses when a person of our own race does something like this. The guy was clearly a bad apple. So, it says a number of Stormfront members seem to be aware that their site would be subject to scrutiny by the press. Well, you think? You already made an article about it because they were watching them, right? They know the sites. One person said, shooting innocent middle-aged black women in church is about the best way I can think of to help blacks win more sympathy and to fire up the anti-white groups. So they never stop. They never stop. I mentioned that in my recent video from this week. The powers that be, leftists, Marxists, Jews, whoever it is, this group, this ideology, they never stop, and they continue to push harder, faster, every freaking day. So we just had the Caitlyn Jenner transgender promoted. She's the icon. And then you had the woman from the NAACP, Rachel Dolezal, talking about transracialism, so transgender to transracialism. And now this. So, and then this right here, the bomb threat. Charleston shooting vigil evacuated due to bomb threat. I mean, who the hell calls in bomb threats? Seriously, if you're gonna bomb something, you're gonna blow it the fuck up. You're not gonna call before and let them know. I mean, that just whatever. But the media is definitely on a frenzy right now about this dude, and this really sucks. It's gonna suck for us to be able to discuss these issues with regular people who are scared to talk about them. You don't really need hate speech laws or anything like that. People would just self-police. Alabama hate cops put on leave after SPLC complaint from today. So, but basically, yeah, this is what happened. It says in Alabama they placed 2 officers on administrative leave Wednesday following a Watchdogs group article alleging the pair are members of an organization described as a hate group. So no one's going to... they're not going to call themselves a hate group. That's what they're called. They call themselves Neo-Confederates, right? A league advocates for Southern secession, a society dominated by European Americans. So, also, this is pretty obvious, but this article here that was covering racist websites, white nationalist websites. What do they title it as? White supremacists are worried. White supremacists. So I don't refer to myself as a supremacist. I don't know if you guys do. It's kind of like when they refer to National Socialists as Nazis. They didn't refer to themselves as Nazis, but they like doing that. So, I mean, I respect other people. If I don't call black people niggers, I won't call them African Americans anymore because I'm not going to be called a European American. I'll call them blacks. But, I'm not going to call a gay a faggot either, So, because I'm trying to reach people, and they're not going to reach you if you do stuff like that, if you say it like that. But they can go ahead and call us white supremacists or hate speech or hate websites, pretty infantile tactics, but that's what they do. SBLC and all these types of groups in the mass media. Here, you guys probably seen this before, PayPal. They were attacking what they call anti-white hate group. SPLC whines that PayPal continues to allow financing pro-white sites. So yeah, PayPal is basically not allowing these pro-white websites to use their services anymore. I think TrueTube now they're not even able to take donations through PayPal or online. You got to send them snail mail. So subtle attacks, and I've been feeling that kind of lately, what they've been doing. And so yeah, something like this is a huge attack, dude. This is up there with like Oklahoma City bombing. All those other mass shootings, that's more about them trying to take people's guns away. All like the Trayvon Martin, all that stuff. Those two, but it was really just a cop that was defending himself or whatever. This is different. This is a white dude going in and shooting black people in a church, so that's a completely different thing. And yes, everyone catches the vapors over this, but reverse the races and it would hardly be a blip on mainstream media's radar. Tim Wise and the rest of the anti-white zealots are probably foaming at the mouth. That's what a lot of people are commenting. They're probably, this is their wet dream. And yes, this makes us look bad, but white genocide, white suicide still exist. blacks are still committing a horrendous amount of hate crimes against whites. These are real issues, and they can't stop us from discussing them. So, thank you.